Well, welcome to Wisdom of a Lifetime. I got a really exciting episode today. In this episode, we're going to cover action. And in the last episode, we talked manifestation. And while manifestation is very powerful, there is actually a secret to that manifestation. Of course, we talked about allowing the universe to create your intention and bring it to you and don't chase it. But more importantly, most people think they can just sit and meditate, create intentions, and then it's just going to happen for them. And it really doesn't work that way. I can tell from my past experiences, I had to take a lot of action, but it was calculated action. It was action in my passion. So we'll get more into that. So before we get into that, I'd like you to go to Wisdom of a Lifetime and subscribe, join, go to my website or any of my social media channels. So let's talk about action. So really at the end of the day, you can meditate all you want. You can set your intentions. You can set your goals. You can do all that great stuff. And it's really important you do all of that. But at the end of the day, if you take no action, it tells the universe that you're really not serious about what you want. So we talked about that heart-brain coherence, that the ability to align your thoughts, your desires, your intentions to then having the heart and brain agreeing with that and removing doubt completely and getting to full knowingness. And that knowingness means now you also are willing to take action. And it tells the universe that you're serious, what your intention, and really you take an action by doing one step at a time. Now think about it. One small step, even for 10 minutes or half an hour a day, creates enormous momentum over a year, over 2 years. Obviously, the more time, the better. And you look at any athlete, any musician, anybody who's successful in anything they do, they've taken action, they've really invested themselves into their passions. And really, that's really important. So let's talk about your actions. If you're going to have a goal, an intention that you have, you really want to think about it seriously. Is this something you really want? Just saying you want $1 billion or $100 million or even $1 million is not really a goal. It just means you want money for something. So describe what that something is really about. So if you really want money, remove the money and think about what you really want, what the money buys you, and get really passionate about that. So understanding your passions and what you love and what you dislike to do, well, that's kind of what you want to get to. So you want to understand things that you love to do. You might like to hike. You might like to be around social friends. You might like to skydive. You might like to play music. You might like to draw. You really want to take an inventory that makes you joyful and happy. And that's really important. And then you want to also understand your goals. What is it you want to accomplish in your life? Because whether you like it or not, 150 years from now, everybody on this planet that you know will be gone. And it'll be whole new generations of people. So everybody passes on. So we have a limited lifespan. And we really want to start thinking about what do we really want with the end in mind. So I always think about, hey, the day I'm lying down, passing away, what is it that I would regret? What are the things that I would regret to have done and accomplished in my life? And even the people, the things that I would have liked to have done, but also the people I've in touch with my lives, or if I've done misjustices, to apologize and make that right. So today we're talking about action. So what are the actions that you need to take to the point where on the dying day, those are the things that you make yourself proud about? So those goals you want to get very clear, which set your intentions. And then taking action means waking up every morning. This is what I do. I wake up every morning. I think, what's one thing I can do towards that goal I'm shooting for? I have a goal for work. I have a goal for my health, well-being. I have a goal maybe for my personal life, my social life, and so on. So I have many, many intentions and goals. And I use that interchangeably because really your goals are your internal intentions, what you want in your life. And whether it be health or friends or whatever, relationships, those are the actions you need to take every day. So if you don't follow with action, nothing's going to happen. So let me give you some concrete things to do. So you wake up every morning, you think, okay, I have 5 things I want to do for my health, for my relationships, for my investments or financial well-being, and so on. And I pick those things and I think, okay, what are the one thing I can do in each area that would really make a difference, including my music, as you can see my studio. So even practicing half an hour a day is a good thing. So taking action, finding that action in the morning is a good time to reflect what do you need to do, get very clear, even including your work. Sometimes it's that 80-20 rule. Only 20% what you do makes an 80% momentum and success and impact. And the other 80% only gives you 20% impact. So getting really clear about what you need to do that day really helps you. And this is what I did throughout my whole life is I woke up in the morning thinking about the one thing I wanted to do. Now, the other thing is you don't want to watch TV. You don't want to, read news that are negative. You don't want to get and look at social media and Instagram. And those things are highly distractive and they yield nothing. Of course, you might want to watch a sitcom to just, laugh, and that's okay. If you do 30 minutes or an hour a day. But at the end of the day, we all have a limited amount of time in our day, and we have to sleep and we have to then, work. And so, what are the things that we can do in that time that really makes a difference in our life? Every day matters and every day counts towards the end, which we all have an end. The problem is that we never, or the challenge is, we never think about that there's an end, and there is always going to be an end, just like there's a beginning. So, with that, you want to be thinking about those actions that you can take every day. It could be just an action for every one of your goals or intentions that's only 5 minutes or 10 minutes, but that's okay. That small micro action adds up over time. So it's really, really important. I think it's also important for my life is I'm also social. I like to take time for my friends to go out, to be social. I think it's important. It brings joy and passion to me. Now, for other people, they like more being introverted and having time to themselves to just relax, maybe sit in a hot tub or whatever. But whatever makes you joyful is key. Now, let's describe the difference between joy and pleasure. Joy is the feeling when you're probably hugging your child or petting your animal or your pet, or just walking in nature. That feeling of bliss and that oneness is joy. Very different than pleasure. Pleasure is when you eat a pizza or do things that stimulate your senses. Those are pleasurable things, but joy comes from the heart. And really, you want to be thinking about things that make you joyful and invest in those things that make you joyful. Sometimes they don't match your intentions, but they bring you joy. And it's okay to have parts of your day to have joy in it. And it's actually very good to be in a joyful state constantly. And we'll talk about that in later episodes, that really the goal is to be in a joyful state as much as possible. But investing your time in your passions is very important, including your intentions. Now, sometimes we don't want to do the things that we really have to do. Now, for myself, I know I don't sometimes want to play guitar, but I know if I don't play guitar, I don't practice, I don't get better, I don't even maintain my skill set. And what I did early on in my career is I knew that no one else would read every night. And so I made it a habit for Monday night to Thursday night, I would read for 2 hours every night before I went to bed. And I made that a practice. I did that for decades and decades. And I knew that if I did that, I would be an expert in my field. And sure enough, I am an expert in my field because I invest a massive amount of energy of learning and reading. Sometimes I read just on quantum physics because it's passionate to me and I love it. It doesn't mean that I'm going to yield anything out of it, but there's a 2 degree of separation from everything. So everything you're learning, everything you're doing has a connectedness to it. Because as we talked about, and we'll talk about in the future, entanglement is a state of reality, and entanglement is a real thing in quantum physics. And we're all entangled, and everything we do is entangled. So it's really important. So list your passions and think about the things that make you joyful, and also list your goals and your intentions of what you want in your life. And then really start taking action. Really, you don't want to be looking into like a mirror and saying, okay, this is my life right now. The mirror is only reflecting what you are from 6 months ago. So if you look in a mirror and say, I don't like the way I look, it's because from the 6 months or 3 months of how you were taking action is now reflecting back. So the mirror kind of deceives you, for example. So I'm giving you an analogy of this. So whatever action you're taking is not going to show up immediately. And this is where we all get frustrated. We think because we're going to take action every day, we're going to eat healthy, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. We should make all the money, we should slim right down, we should be as beautiful. And it doesn't work that way. It takes time and it takes the ability to have perseverance and the ability to just be patient and get into that knowingness is really, really important. Now, one of the formulas I really, really think about all the time is in every situation that is I'm challenged with or I'm looking for a goal, I want to gain awareness. Now, let's talk about what awareness is. Awareness is really the ability to take action in a specific area that gains consciousness. So you have a consciousness. To gain consciousness, I got to take action. So let's say I have to read an article on investing to understand money markets or bonds. It's not the goal what I want, which is, let's say I want to be a billionaire, but I know that I might have to understand bonds or equity markets or running a business. So I have to invest my actions in getting these little pieces of consciousness that I can then understand. But what happens is as I link and do more of these little pieces of a consciousness, for example, an investment, I suddenly get this aha moment that is called awareness. That light bulb that goes off is the awareness you're getting that you've done because you've taken action in specific small areas that then created a bigger awareness about your goal or your intention. So this is what I've always been doing. And I always wake up in the morning, think about my goals, pick one thing I need to do from all my goals, do that. I also think about things that bring me joy from my list. And I also do that. Sometimes it's just relaxing, having a glass of red wine. Sometimes it's socializing with friends. Sometimes it's watching a half hour, an hour sitcom. But anything that brings me joy and a relaxation and peace of mind is also very beneficial. So action is not always toward your goals, your intention. Action can also be towards just your blissfulness, your joyfulness. So I want to leave here with this in mind. And I've done this many, many times. I take action on everything. And I will always remember action equals success. Action equals my goals realized. Action equals my state of being joyful. So action is very critical and it's really downplayed by many, many people. And sometimes it's upplayed by saying all you do is work, 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 work and take action and you have no time or downtime for yourself. That is just as bad as not taking action, is taking too much action. So we all need time to relax, to be joyful, to have a state of presence and happiness, and also to take actions to our intentions and our goals. So with that, I want to thank you for your time, and until next time.